Hello, my name's Laura, and up until just over a week ago I used to be a subscriber of the FairyLoot romancy subscription service. It was a good service, I enjoyed it, but here's why I finally took the plunge and quit the service. I originally had the YA service and then cancelled that one, and then went on the waitlist, was on the waitlist for years for the romancy subscription service, and this service had me in a chokehold until a few weeks ago. I loved the whole mystery nature of it, where you never knew what you were going to get each month, and there was always like a nice, beautiful special edition book. But over time, what I can only describe as I now have a pile of load-bearing book piles in my room. So they were coming in a lot quicker than what I could read them, and they've actually caused me to end up being in a book slump, which I didn't realise I was in until I've picked up a reread of a book series that I'd read previously, and I've had more fun with that than anything that FairyLoot has sort of sent to me in the last couple of years, which highlights to me that I'm just not interested in their selections. And there's some that I've had from the service that I've just not picked up for a good couple of years now. Picking up an old favourite a few weeks ago has been my light bulb moment with that. I'm just not interested in the choices of the books that are on this service. I mean, I devoured this one in about 3 days. Yes, it was a previous read. Yes, it was a previous 5 stars, but I've had more fun with reading Dark Lover by J.R. Ward than anything that's come through FairyLoot. It's a shame that life gets in the way of reading, hence you do end up with book stacks of books that you just don't pick up for years. There may well be some gems in there, but I'm just not getting to them anytime soon. And on a couple of occasions I had actually pre-ordered those books from Waterstones, so I now have 2 copies of the books that actually were in the selection that month, which it's a roll of the dice, but it's just not one that I was willing to make anymore. They also have issues with, if you have bought the first book in a subscription service, you won't necessarily be able to get access to the sequels when they do bring them out. And it's nice to have a completed set, but like with the Bonded with Thorns, they did not stock the volume in the sequels that they did for the first book. I'm not even bothered about it now, but at the time it was very frustrating to think that even if you are part of that subscription service, you're not going to get access to the product at the end of it, which it was really frustrating at the time. But yet now I'm like, I haven't even read the first one yet, so I think the nature of being a completionist, you kind of want all the same ones, but it's, you know, they would have just ended up in one of these stacks if we're being honest. I was also getting frustrated with the fact that there was a lot of add-ons, which, because of it being limited edition in nature and FOMO, you'd often be standing in a enchanted virtual queue to get access to these books, and you would want to grab them because of them being limited edition, and once they're gone, and they were all stunning. But it wouldn't necessarily be one that I would essentially choose if it was just being offered up as a regular pre-order. And then on occasion you would actually miss out on a lot of these books. The ones that I have missed out on, thinking on it now, I'm not actually that bothered that I've missed them, even though at the time there was disappointment, which shows to me they're creating urgency with needing these beautiful books. But do you actually need them? No. Are you actually going to read them immediately? No. Essentially, I think we've lost sight of the fact that the most important things with these books is the words and the content, not necessarily the sprayed edges, the signed. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm a sucker for end paper artwork, and I mean an example. So their edition of Onyx Storm, which I bought the Waterstones edition, their end paper art is exactly the same as the one in the FairyLoot edition. Obviously they have their little touches, like the embossed cover, the dust jacket, but realistically you're only buying it for the small differences, which, do you need a million different copies of this same book just for those tiny little variations? In hindsight, no, we don't need it, but yet we're queuing up for it because they know we're completionists. We're going to want sets of these things, but it's the words that are important, and I think it's just that's just flicked on in my brain again. So I'm kind of just resetting the way that I think. Buyer's regret is real, and having a million different copies of the same book, if it's not a series that I'm particularly in love with, then it's like, why do I have multiple copies of this same book? I'm halfway through Onyx Storm at the moment. It's, you know, it's not doing it for me at the minute. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not enjoying it at the same time. So the fact that I have a couple of editions of a book that isn't going to be an all-time favourite for me speaks to the fact that I need to sort of change my buying habits. But I'm now taking back control of the books that I am choosing and curating for my collection. Their books just aren't as precious to me. The sign with that was I actually bought one of their add-on books, which was the Silver Cloak. I actually spilled tea on that one not so long ago. A couple of years ago, this would have been end of the world style drama. However, I kind of just wiped it off and was like, oh, okay, it's fine, whatever. Which you think, well, why isn't it bothering me as much as what it would have a few years ago? If I spilt tea on this book, end of the world style drama, yet the FairyLoot special edition, all singing and dancing edition of Silver Cloak, you know, it speaks for itself. But I think if you have joined the service and you have been on the waitlist for years, this is another reason why I think people stay with the service too long, because it takes so long to get on the service that when you're finally on there, you're like, well, I don't want to hop off too soon because it took me that long to get access to this subscription. But the key, if you are on that service, is to know when to go. You will end up with piles of books. I mean, a lot of them end up on eBay, so I think a lot of the people that are on the service are resellers, which is a shame, because they do sort of stop actual buyers from getting access to what is essentially a very, very limited product. But overall, I mean, I had fun. I had fun with the service. I'm not going to be signing up for any subscription service again, because I need control over the books that are coming in, and I don't have infinite space to put these beautiful editions. I wish I did, but it's just not the case at the moment. So I've decided with this channel, if you stick with me, I'm basically going to be documenting my reads. I'm never not going to buy books, because that is my joy. I do like doing it, but it's going to be books that I choose. And this is going to be documenting rereading favourites, finally finishing this series, reading it properly for the first time ever, which this has been so fun, and I want to document it so that I can look back on it and just relive the joy that is this series, seeing if there are other 5-star reads in the collection, as I guarantee you I have some. Anybody that's got a Kindle, that's got books, you have 5-star reads already on your shelf that are just unloved, unread. So hopefully, if you stick with me, we're going to go through the books that I have, check out books that I will personally be purchasing based on my choices, and just seeing where this goes.